them home.
Peace, y'all. What's going on? Episode 2. See, we got 11 people over here already. Appreciate everybody for waiting in the waiting room. Thank you to everybody. What's going on? What's going on? Howard, Geet, what's going on? Ma, what's going on? Gino, what's going on? So we're going to start like we always start. Tonight, we're going to start off with a shout out to, our sponsors. Our first sponsor, as always, Howard's Blend. Get that protein, get that pre-workout. I actually took that pre-workout just before the show. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning and I've been running all day. So I said, let me get some pre-workout in so I can focus for this show. Shout out to everybody that's logging in. Second up, you guys got to check out Clarity. Got to check it out. Yeah, thank you for the sweater. And we're going to make sure we bring you a moment of clarity tonight. If you haven't seen us on YouTube, got this comfortable sweater. Shout out to my man Gino for that. I appreciate you. And then last but not least, make sure you guys check out Fear. We got the second edition. You got to get that red stripe. The second edition has updates on the stories for the last couple years. And proceeds from the book Fear go to the Mary Kemp Foundation. So I want to make sure that everybody understands very clearly. I don't make a penny off the book Fear. So if you're buying it, proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to the Mary Kemp Foundation. So if you want to buy somebody a gift, buy somebody a gift. If you want to download the ebook or the profit and proceeds goes to the Mary Kemp Foundation. So you're helping children with their education and adults with their education all across the globe. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with our 3 rules. Got to be mindful of your commentary. So you got to watch what you text. You got to watch what you say. We don't want to get kicked off. And be mindful of your background noise. If you're playing like music or something or cursing something in the background, they could drop us off the live for that. Last but not least, have fun. And by have fun, I mean ask questions, interact, talk. Join us live. You want to see if people are going to join us live. I'd rather not have I'd rather have a discussion rather than do a presentation, which I will do. So tonight we have an exciting show. It's the second one in our Versus series. Last show was houses, whether you should own or whether you should rent. And today we're going to talk about your vehicles. Second most expensive bill for most people. Are you going to lease your car or are you going to finance your car? That's today's topic of discussion. So we took a poll on our social media. Shout out to everybody who voted. We had 20 responses. And this was tight. It was basically 12 to 8. 12 people felt like that they should lease. 8 people felt like they should finance. So it really is split down the middle. It's really 50-50. I'll give my presentation. Maybe you guys will weigh in later and see what you think. So we're going to jump right in. And we're going to start with the first car. And this is something I learned preparing for this presentation. This will actually be interesting if you want to play a little game and take 30 seconds. Does anybody know who created the first car? And don't be afraid to have the wrong answer. Like, that's how you learn. So let's take 30 seconds while we do that. And I'll give shout outs while y'all are typing your questions. Peace D, Peace Shadell, Spec, shout out. Anthony, thank you for joining us. JC, thank you for joining. If I missed anybody, send a message. I'll shout you out because I appreciate all y'all for being here. Y'all could be anywhere with us. And I know the joining live is even more special. While I'm giving you guys some time to answer, then Geet, what's going on? Peace. Okay. And I'm gonna tell all y'all, I thought it was Ford too. I know Geet being funny with the Tesla, but I thought it was Ford too. So this is what I found out today doing this research. There was a gentleman, JC's a car guy. So yeah, exactly, Benz. Carl Benz created the first car in 1886. The first car cost $1,000 in 1886, which is adjusted for inflation is 29.9 today. So now we're gonna move forward to what everybody else thought, which is Ford. And shout out to Malik, he's correct. Ford basically revolutionized cars. So the first car is 1886. In 1908, Ford made the first Model T that cost $850. So I want you to kind of put that in perspective. So 30 years later, pretty much 15, 25 years later, Henry Ford made a car that was 15% cheaper, but if you adjust it for inflation, he made a car that was almost half price to compete with the European based cars. Now, there's something that happened in 1919 when GM came out, General Motors. They created the first car loan, which is very, very important, especially to our discussion. So before 1919, you had to have $1,000 to purchase a Benz, not Mercedes Benz, not yet, just a Benz. Or if you were in America or you wanted to buy a Ford, you had to pay $850 cash. Now you got to remember at this time, people are only making like 3, 4, 5,000 a year. So to pay $850 cash, it wasn't something that you could do. So there weren't very many cars out. But in 1919, GM created the first car loan, and that changed the game. It affected cars so much that by the time 1924 came around, the same Model T that Ford put out cost $240. So 15 years into production, Henry Ford was selling their original car for 25% of the price because that was the only way they could keep up with the cars that GM was putting out because people were financing the cars with GM. So it revolutionized cars. I mean, cars exploded. There were like 20 times more cars in America because now you could borrow in order to acquire your car, and it became more prevalent, and then so on and so on. Then we had the invention of leasing, which again, this is something that is brand new to me. I'm not really a car guy, but did you guys know that the first rental car was done in 1918? That's like a Snapple fact. So in 1918, it was the first rental car, and 1919, the first opportunity to finance a car. Maybe rent a car, which is the company that started renting, inspired finance because you could borrow a car for a short time. So now we move forward, and then there was something called a long-term rental, which was known as a lease. The first lease option started in 1941. And then in 1952, there was a private company, which was a bank, that lent money specifically for leases. But people really didn't do leasing. It really wasn't something that caught on. Leasing became popular in the early 1990s. That's when it revolutionized the car game. And I mean, think about leasing right now. I mean, you could lease an iPhone. Like you can rent an iPhone for long term. You can even rent sneakers. I'll put that link in the post. You can go to Rent a Center and you could rent brand new and used Air Jordans for $23 a day. It's insane. So the price people are willing to pay to either live a certain lifestyle that they can't afford or to enjoy a certain lifestyle without spending full ticket price. So I see it from both perspectives. So I'm going to hit you with a couple of stats and then we'll go to questions. Like I said, I always like to do a little presentation to set the tone, but I'd rather have a dialogue than have a monologue. So, average new car in America, the payment is $716. The average used car payment in America is $526. in the end of the fourth quarter last year, 39.5. So we'll say 40%. 4 out of 10 cars at the end of the last quarter were financed. So a lot of new cars were bought last year, and a lot of new cars on the street are financed or leased. It's like 85% of the cars on the street in America are not owned outright. And then we'll move forward. And I want to kind of put this in perspective. The average US salary is $67,000, which is a gross number. And then that's $4,300 a month. That's gross. So if you live in New York, and we're assuming average, because we know when you live in a place like New York, California, or something like Hawaii, you can have your rate adjusted because of taxes and so on. But this is what the average is. I know a lot of people in New York that don't make $67,000, right? So $67,000 in New York, you cut that in half, you're making $2,100 a month. Imagine if your car note's $700. Where do you live? Well, groceries if you have a family. How do you maintain that? Even a used car, again, is $526. So this is a real question, because it's a real problem, considering debt and all of that, which is going to be something we'll talk about in another verses coming forward. I'm trying to set a tone, so almost like an album. When you watch this season from episode 1 to episode 10, it's going to build on each other, and it's going to have an overarching theme. So that being said, these are the stats on the cars in America. That's a little bit of the history of cars. And I want to give you a little bit of information about leasing and a little bit of information about financing. Then we'll take questions, and we'll just see how the show goes. So depreciation, for those of you who don't know what depreciation is the item that we're talking about today. We're talking about cars is losing value over time, right? Wear and tear, age, losing value over time, depreciation. You buy a brand new car off the lot, within 1 year, you're going to depreciate 19%. So your car is worth 81 cents on a dollar. You buy a $100,000 car, it's worth 81,000 within a year. Within 2 years, it drops down to 69. So $100,000 car, 2 years in, it's now only worth 69K, depending on usage and wear and tear. But this is assuming you keep your car up. 3 years, 58%. 4 years, your car is only worth 49% of what its original value was. So within 4 years, your car is worth half of the original value. Now, some cars hold their value a little better, some a little worse. These are averages, but this is pretty typical for most people. So now we have a conversation on whether you should purchase a new car, whether you should purchase a used car, whether you should borrow a car, right, which leasing is. And I'm going to set the stage. So if anybody wants to weigh in, you're more than welcome to ask questions, chime in, see if there's something I left out. Join in as I go into my next point. And this is where I like people to join in. If you want, we could see whether you made a good choice or a bad choice, or a more efficient option was available or could be available for your next car purchase. So I like to talk about my own personal experiences. So I have a vehicle that I finance right now, and I have a vehicle that I lease. Anyone who knows me knows that pretty much every year I get a brand new car. So when I say brand new, I mean brand new to me. So the vehicle that I'm financing right now is a certified used vehicle. The purchase price of the car that I finance is $204,000. I paid $90,000 for the car. It had 16,000 miles on it, brand new, never used. It sat in a lot, and I barely use my car, right? So I mean, for those of you on social media, so I have a BMW i8. I could have spent $204,000 and bought the model that I have, or I could have done what I did and finance it, put down 10K, pay for the extended warranty like I did. So I'm bumper to bumper. Once that warranty is up, I'm going to get rid of that car. So I'll probably have it for another few months, and I'll get another new car. So I financed that car because you can't lease a used vehicle. So I drove that car. I loved it. I love everything about it. I said, I'm going to get the car when it made sense for me to get the car. This is some free game. The car note, I think, is something like $1,500 a month, $1,400 a month, give or take, something like that. Let's say it's $1,500 a month. Before I felt like I could afford that car, I had to increase my monthly revenue or decrease my bills by a total of $15,000. Whenever I make a new bill, I have to increase that amount by 10 times monthly. Otherwise, I don't believe I can afford whatever it is I'm purchasing. So that's how I went about getting my vehicle. Now, the other car that I have is I have my lease, which is my everyday car. I have a Nissan. I've been with Nissan probably like 6 or 7 years. There's a great dealership out here, Bates, and that is basically my everyday car. It's a lease. I pay $300 a month for it, and my company pays all the bills on that car. My insurance, my gas, my car note 100%, air fresheners, anything, maintenance, anything that happens with that vehicle is 100% deductible because it is my business car. I only use that car for business. So I lease it. So I'm going to give you guys some free game right now. And I'll ask the question again. I want to see if people understand this. When you finance a car, you're taking a loan, you're borrowing money. Do you pay taxes on money that you borrow? You guys can put yes or no. While we're waiting for the yes or no to come in, and then some of y'all are my clients on here, so y'all better get it right. And then I'm going to ask you a second question. When you're leasing a vehicle, did you take a loan? Okay, so Angie Davis. Angie, I'm going to call you out a little bit, okay? Don't beat me up. Angie, if I lent you $10,000, or actually if you own a home or if you took a mortgage, Angie, I believe you're a realtor, right? So Angie, when you buy $100,000 house and you take a mortgage for $90,000, you pay taxes on the $90,000 as income? Yes or no? Anthony, I appreciate you for your honesty. You're not sure, right? So Matthew, the question is, do you pay taxes on a loan? Okay, so Angie, I'm gonna give you some information. You do not pay taxes on a loan. When you take $100,000 mortgage, you don't pay $100,000 on income tax. You don't. It's okay to clarify. It's okay if I didn't say it clearly, but it's good because the people who don't know, when they hear this back, they'll get that information. So you don't pay taxes on income because rather on a loan because it's not your money. So here goes the game. When you finance a vehicle, you can't write off the loan amount. You can only write off the interest because the interest is something you're paying. Okay. So now we're going to compare why I lease my business vehicles versus why I finance, right? So the vehicle I have is an exotic car, so I can't write that off for business. And I could go through the corporation thing and get into the nitty gritty. That's something I really explain to my clients to make them the most money. But for me personally, right now my company is a LLC, and it makes sense for me. Which again, I explain it to my clients with the pension and all the things, the benefits I give them. But for the purposes of this discussion, but and again, to my realtors, my business people, when you travel and you buy and you use a rental car, can you deduct your rental car for a business expense? 100% because you're borrowing something. So when you lease a vehicle, there's no loan involved. You're not borrowing money, you're borrowing the object. So when I lease a car for 3 years, all I'm paying for is the depreciation of the time that I use the vehicle. I'm paying 100% of a rental. So I get to deduct 100% of my car note. I'll slow it down. I bring it back. If I finance the car for $300, the only thing I could deduct off of that payment is the interest. That's it. So maybe $30 a month if I have a terrible interest rate. But when I lease a vehicle, if my car note is $300 and it's 100% a business vehicle, I can deduct 100% of that car note. So in my business as a flipper and what I do in real estate, I need big write-offs. There you go. Right. So I teach my clients these things, and that's why, I play by the rules. I pay all the taxes I'm supposed to, but that's why my company does 10 million a year for the last 3 years. And I'll say this, I pay less than 2% in income taxes. So I use OPM. I live off OPM. So that's why the working class person pays 15, 20, 30%. If you live in New York, 50% in taxes, and you wonder why you can't get ahead, it's because you don't know these rules. So that's why, my consultations are invaluable, because for the small amount that I pay you, I make and save people 20, 30, 50, 100 grand a year without even a blink of an eye. But let's get back to the conversation. Anthony asks, what's OPM? OPM is other people's money. So when you take money from a bank, when you take money from clients, investors, and use it to make a profit, it's OPM. That's how I started my business. We'll see if we get into a conversation, but I'll get into that. Most of that is in the book Fear. How I started my first real estate investment with $2,500, and we did 35 million in the last 33 months. But let's keep going. So, are we clear on the benefits of renting versus leasing, or rather, leasing and finance? So, to me, it's always going to depend. There's no blanket answer, and you'll understand that every time we do a versus. I'm never going to tell you one thing is always right for everybody. But my job here is to give people information that they may not know, so that the next time they go to purchase a vehicle, they have information that will help them make the better choice for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that they're going to own a car. There is a benefit to owning a vehicle for certain people, until the car starts to break down, and then you have to fix things every month, and then you end up basically with a car note. Some people ask questions, or they say things about the miles. Just get a lease with more miles, and usually the price, the penalty for going over is something like 20 cents to 30 cents a mile. So even if you go over 2,000 miles or 1,000 miles, you're only paying $200, which is 100% deductible if you're using it for business. So like right now, my car is like 4,000 miles over. Who cares? It's $800 that I'm going to deduct anyway. It's way better to keep a new car than to have repairs. So unless you guys want me to go into this a little bit more, or if you want me to compare your car note to lease or finance, which I'm more than happy to do, I'm going to take questions. And then you could join us backstage. It looks like we have somebody with us right now. So we're going to talk to my man, Kevin. What's going on, bro? How you?
Hey, good evening. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us. You had an interesting take on both options. Would you mind sharing your answer when we did the poll on Instagram?
Yeah. So I think it's mostly intentional based, right? So um like I was saying before, like if you're an average Joe and I mean you going to work 9 to 5 every day, you probably gonna buy that car. You don't have no reason to deduct it, right? Because you're just going to work every day. If you love the car, and that's like, man, I've always been in love with Nissan Sentras. And the Nissan Sentra, like, it's always been a good car. My grandma recommended it. My mama recommended it. And now I have it. And this is just what we do. This is what we love. I actually have family members like that. They believe in Lexus trucks like there's no tomorrow. Every woman over the age of like 30, when they hit that point in their career of having a Lexus truck, everybody got a Lexus truck. And it's like, okay, you can get the same out of a Honda if you really care. But hey, that's just what they do. Now, business wise, if you're doing fleet vehicles, you're doing a Turo thing, you might want to lease it if you can get away with it, right?
Right.
Because everybody's not going to allow you to just lease a Turo car and let everybody and their mom drive it. But and that's you running risk with that. So that's not exactly sketch. That's not exactly a good idea. But if you leasing because you do, I don't know, DoorDash, or maybe you do Amazon or something like that. It's like you a 1099 contractor, and you can write all this stuff off. A lot of benefits to leasing. You have no maintenance, no overhead. Like you said, the mileage, the 20 cents a mile. And a lot of people hear that 20 cents a mile and it shies them away from leasing because they're like, oh man, 20 cents a mile. What if I do 100 miles,
Right.
And you did the math real quick and it's like, 20 cents not that bad. Like write that stuff off too, like you said. So I think it's intention based. If you know you're gonna keep that car forever, it's like, man, this is gonna be the car I get to my kids because I'm buying this 5 years before they turn old enough to drive. So by the time they're old enough to drive, I know I'm set up to go get my new thing, and they could just have this, which is a nice enough car still in 5 years. So I think it's intention based.
Okay. I appreciate that. And if anybody wants to weigh in and join in the conversation, because again, I want to make this crystal clear. Like, there's no right and wrong. It's your money. You do what you want with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to challenge one point that you brought up, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Think of somebody, one of the people that got the Lexus truck, just say for conversation.
Yeah.
What profession are they in?
One's a lawyer, one's an accountant, and the last one is she's not gonna never see this. She an overqualified. I don't want to offend nobody else.
Just say what it is, bro. It's her job.
She is a very qualified housewife who literally she'll get a job, make $100K for 6 months, and be like, I don't need this job. I'm too qualified for this.
Okay, so now watch this. So I'll go in reverse order. My assumption is that the lawyer has to have some sort of corporation at LLC. So
Nope.
I don't understand. Oh, so then you need to have your people reach out to me. So check this out. So they're leaving money on the table because that lawyer 100% can write off that business card. The accountant knows better. I know they got an LLC.
She did, but now she's in what is she? Maybe like 50 something. I think she's like just trying to ease into her grandma lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, so
she needs to talk to me.
She's dumping everything away.
And I'll make her retirement even easier. You know, I coach accountants too. So I'm gonna give you some game. Accountant should have an LLC, lawyer for sure should have an LLC, corporation, S corp, some sort of filing. And now we're gonna talk about the overqualified. How you said it, not me. So y'all don't get mad at me, get mad at Kevin.
Yeah, she got 3 master's degrees, one in business, one in education, and another one in like something else.
So let's start there. Let's talk about her. If she was to open up a corporation or LLC, even if it didn't perform for the first 3 to 5 years, she could take losses. So when she had that $100,000, whether she was a 1099 or whether she was a W-2 employee, all the expenses that she had from her home office, which we could get into the tax thing. My clients get this as an intro. You know this, Kev.
Yeah.
We're doing a tax seminar for clients only next Sunday. So all my clients, if you join me for a year, you get all my seminars for free, unless I bring in a guest. So I'm giving out all this tax game next week because the corporate tax filing deadline is March 15th. That being said, I bet you I could shrink that 100K down at least 40 grand in bills that she already has, and she recoup all that money. That car be free. See the thing, and that's what I'm saying. People don't have the game. All her school debt, all that stuff, that's professional. That's professional. Professional development. You get to deduct all that, so she could even write off her school loans. She could be paying into her pension. See, people don't know these things because they don't know the rules, and it's not about being smart. It's about education, right? Because being smart and educated are two different things. Educated just means you know something about a topic, right?
Yeah.
So she just may not know the tax game. She just may not know the business game. Bro, give me a number. I'll make her and save her a whole lot of money. Whole lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate you though, and this is why I want people to come on live because Kev is winning. And they doing it. I don't want to say all your stuff. You can put whatever you want, and you can shout out whatever you want before we go, because we got 2 other people up next. But it's honesty like this. That's why I do this show, because there's people out there leaving a lot of money on the table and then upset about tax rules Meanwhile, it's your own fault. You giving away money you don't have to. I guarantee you, I'll save your cousin at least 40 grand off that 100K.
Yeah. So the lawyer actually this year, she was like, she felt like she wasn't driving it enough, so she gave it up because she don't stay far from the courthouse. So she's like, oh, I can bounce off this COVID-20, you know what I mean, and get back to walking at work every day. So she gave hers up. So it's not a problem for her. But she was like, when I get back, if I ever leave the courthouse and I go to a big firm, she going back to Lexus. And it's just like a thing for them. Like there's no other car that exists unless it's a Lexus.
So what you could do is, let's say she uses it 50% of the time. If it was a lease, then she could write off 50% of all the bills related to the car.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
Because you don't have to have 100% use. So there's all these little tips and tricks and strategies. Like I'll tell you why I feel like I know so much about taxes. And you see the disclaimer in the beginning. I'm not a CPA, yada yada. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving advice. I'm just telling you my personal experience. This year I got about 80 clients, right? I got probably about 65 different tax accountants or CPAs or whoever it is, where I have to make sure their numbers make sense. So my whole month of March and April and January, February is talking to different CPAs, giving them game, because some of them might be from New York. So they don't know the rules in Texas. They don't know about franchise taxes. They don't know about Wyoming. They don't know about North Carolina. They don't know about Florida.
I heard about Wyoming.
Yeah, we build on Wyoming, exactly. We're not gonna get on the tangent because I got 3 other people. But what I'm saying is they don't know about all that because their job is one thing. My job is to make people money in all types of ways. So I'm not saying I know more than them about taxes, but if you only do New York taxes, you may not know nothing about taxes in Texas. So I had an accountant in New York for like 10 or 15 years. Once I started making money in Texas, he was like, "Yo, you too big for me. You got to find somebody else." But he knows all them New York rules. So when I educate people in Texas, I could talk to them about New York or Pennsylvania because we do Philadelphia. Like, see what I'm saying? So I deal with accountants from all over, and I soak up that game and I share it with my clients.
Okay. And you got most of this from reading tax code, or you just got out there and hit the ground?
Real life experience, bro. Real life experience. Because I have a client, like let's say, I think Clarity, Nova, you could pull up Clarity, Sydney Claire's question real quick. I want to show you something. So what I believe Sydney's referring to is like you see on Instagram where everybody's talking about you could use a G-Wagon for a business write-off. That's 100% true. Hold on. I'm going to answer that. It's 100% true. But do you need to buy a $300,000 car to get the write-off? If you make that kind of money, cool. But it's also F-250s. It's also Ram 3500s. It's cars over a certain weight class because you're using it for a certain thing. The reason why G-Wagon is popular on Instagram is because I don't think you're gonna put a 2500 next to a G, in terms of being opulent. So people point out the G-Wagon because of the weight rule. But no, I have an Altima. You don't need that. It's just about, are you using it for business? If you're using it for business, that's what it is. One of my clients has an Escalade. She's a realtor. She justifies it because she has signs in the back and that's a write-off. It has to be for intended use, and I could teach you all of this stuff. Light work, this easy. So before you go, Kev, you want to shout anybody out or say anything before we let you go?
Man, I want to shout out my old lady and real estate home team. If y'all need a realtor, look up Bree Brown. She's at the real estate home team over in Harker Heights.
Yeah, that's Central Texas. It's a national show. Most of these people was all over. Okay. So you in Centex? One more time?
Yeah, if you're in Centex and you're looking for a home, look up the real estate home team and ask for Bree. They'll find her.
Appreciate you, bro. We talk soon.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, let's see. We have somebody else backstage. Anybody else with a question? We're going to bring SP. And Matthew, after I got 2 people in queue. Matthew, let me know if you want to come on live. If you want to come on live, Nova will get you the link, and I'll do your car breakdown live for you on the air. SP, what's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Okay. Nothing much. It's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. What's your question?
Well, it was I was just adding on to the topic, because right now, I am financing. I was always told by my wife, really, she's like my financial advisory pretty much. She always told me, like, what, she don't like car payments. We like to just buy these cars, get them out the way so we don't got to worry about the payments. and then just sell them off. When it's all said and done. But what your buddy over there said, we kind of got the same type of concept. We was just like, my kid, my boy, he's 11 years old right now. So hopefully when he's 18 or wherever it is, he'll be able to take that car and maybe I'll be able to get a new one. That's kind of what I'm going for. But it was interesting to hear, the benefits of leasing as well. But
I'll unpack that statement real quick and then we can get to your question. So can I be a little nosy? Maybe a little nosy?
Yeah, sure thing.
What does your wife do professionally?
She's a hairdresser.
Does she have a corporation, LLC?
I'm not too sure. For some reason, they don't like me getting in their finances too bad. Her father is usually in charge of things, so it's a little weird.
So let's
trying
say
not to know too much, maybe for the better. I don't know.
Let me say this. If she's a hairdresser, whether she's a 1099er or let's say she's a W-2 employee, if she was to do 1099s, I could show you how to do payroll, do all that stuff. And then we would switch it over where I could show you, which I think we're going to do this for Matthew. Hopefully he'll join us backstage. I'm going to compare. And if you want, we could talk off air or whatever. Show me your car note. I'll show you the finance and I'll show you how many thousands of dollars you're leaving on the table by financing a car rather than leasing it because she has a business. Now, this ain't for everybody. Like Kevin brought up before, this ain't for everybody, but she has a business. I guarantee you're losing thousands of dollars by not having that bill. Now, some people say, well, why would I spend because you don't get money back dollar for dollar. I don't want to act like I don't know what I'm talking about with taxes. But for me, I'd rather have a brand new car that's bumper to bumper that I know is not going to break down and stay with the same dealership than to have to worry about a car that's 6, 8, 10 years old. And your son's 11. My daughter got her first building in Philadelphia when she was 10. So we need to educate our children on LLCs and we need to educate our children on business so that they're not worried about inheriting a free car. My daughter's shopping for a car right now. She's working on a permit. She just acquired another property for her birthday, turned 17. So we want to put this education out there, but we got to learn it first. Because I think if you look at your finances a little different, where I ain't start with money, but look what we do now. It's about education and it's practice, and the money just grows. And I'm gonna say this, and this is an overarching thing. You might hear it. If you make 10,000, your bills can't be 10,000. You make 20, your bills can't be 20. So as you make more money, you got to have less bills. So your wealth is working for you more. And then that's when you get to have fun. And that's why I have that 10 times rule. I don't go get 2 more rentals, make $2,000 more a month and say, oh, I'm going to go get another $2,000 car note. Fastest way to go broke. Because what happens when repairs come or eviction or a unit turnover or I sell the property, right? So that's that. You had a question, though, about retirement or pension or?
Yeah, I was supposed to get the stats all ready for you. I know we spoke briefly last week, but yeah, I just wanted to know about with my whole 401k. I'm definitely gonna get that stuff together. This week was just crazy and stuff, but yeah, I had a friend recently. He kind of helped me with it because I had no idea what I was doing with my 401k. I kind of just signed up, put it as aggressive. Guess you put stuff into the stock market. I'm assuming this was all new to me. I had no idea. I thought that was something I could really rely on. But then people started talking about it, saying it's not reliable. You lose money, this and that. So when I finally went on and I signed back on, I started taking a look at these things. I was actually losing money this year, a couple of grand, if I'm not mistaken. So this person, I trust him somewhat. He just put in his, he gave me some knowledge a little bit. He didn't really go into too much detail because he was helping other people out as well. And he was just like, we're just going to switch it to a non-aggressive 401k type of deal. I wasn't too sure. I was just a little,
Okay.
So I switched it. I had him switch it. I was like, okay, let's just do that for now because I was down, so.
No, thank you for your transparency. And this is what I want you to do because all this stuff is about mindset, right? So let's say you lost a couple $1,000, right? That losing that 2 G's, let's call it 2 G's, made you pay attention, right? So we're gonna call that a $2,000 lesson in business school. All right. One of my good friends, Coach Wilson, said, when you're an adult, mistakes cost money. So you got a $2,000 lesson in higher education vis-a-vis 401k retirement plan. So now I'm gonna give you some game, and I'm gonna give y'all some game. I don't invest in stocks. I don't, because I can't control the money. And I could really get into the real estate. That'll be another show in the versus real estate versus stocks. I don't want to give away too much right now, but I'll tell you myself personally, I don't invest in stocks. And I'll give you my personal reason, because I don't like to lose money. Real estate is very hard to lose money in. With stocks, it goes like this. And I can't sleep at night knowing that I got this much money in the bank and tomorrow is like this. I personally can't do that, especially my retirement account. So I put my money in mutual funds, and I'm able to dodge taxes through the way my account's set up, and I can show you how to do that. So with your 401k, it's tax deferred. So what that means is, let's say you make $100,000 a year. With a 401k, the max is 13.5. So you could put in 13.5 a year and lower your tax threshold, right? So you're saving money. You live on the East Coast. That's 40% that you didn't pay. So even with a mutual fund making 3%, you really made 43%. I know I talk fast with the numbers. Go back, listen to what I'm saying twice, or watch the show where I compare stocks to real estate. That being said, you can control your money. And what you're also allowed to do is pull out those funds and invest in other things. So let's say your 401k hits 50 grand. You could pull out tax-free and invest in real estate, put the money back, make your flip there, and then put money back in. I do it all the time as part of how I was able to retire. I'll show you that on a real call. Exactly, Rob. TDA, tax deferred annuity, 100%. That's a New York thing, but they have them all over. They just have different letters. But in New York, TRS it's a whole thing. I'm gonna save that for the next show. But for you, I'm gonna give you some game while you're learning about your 401k. When you take a dip, all right, let me explain it like this. Let's say you buy Apple stock. Let's talk Tesla. Tesla took a huge hit this year. Tesla stock at one point was at $400. Let's say you had 10 shares and you spent $4,000, right? Now Tesla stock dips to 200. You're like, oh my God, I lost my money. I lost half my money. I'm going to sell. You just made the biggest mistake of a rookie investor, because you have no opportunity to get that money back. See, because now you don't own 10 stocks anymore. You sold them. But if you held on to the 10 stocks, there's an opportunity that maybe it goes back up. I mean, there's a chance that maybe it goes down, but there's a 100% certainty if you sell a stock while it's on its way down, you lost that money for sure. So if your money ever takes a dip again, don't sell. People panic, and that's how they go broke. You got to give it an opportunity to go back up. Now, with you being in 401k, you didn't buy Tesla stock. What you did is you probably did like an S&P 500. So what that means is they take 500 biggest companies and they buy stock with your money all over it, because it's going to average out and you're going to probably get an 8 to 10% return. Does that make sense? So who cares if Tesla goes down or Apple goes up or whatever? They're all going to perform at this pace for a certain amount of time. So you already sold it. Don't look back. Don't worry about it. But if you don't like the idea of the opportunity that you can wake up and lose money, invest moderate, invest low risk, and then we could talk and I'll show you how to maximize your taxes, and maybe we get you some real estate that's a lot safer than stock. And in my personal experience, it performs way better in the stock market.
Hey man, I really appreciate that. Yeah, definitely if you take some time out, man, that'd be nice, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, thank you.
100%. We'll make sure you get my number and all that. We'll talk it through. I appreciate you. You want to give any shout outs, anything?
No, just to the fam. That's about it. Friends, family, all that good stuff, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. All right, peace. Who we got next? Hey, welcome to the show, Anthony. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
All is well, brother. All is well. Thank you for tuning in. Do you have any questions for me? What's going on?
I do have a question. With you doing all you're doing, did you ever get any haters How do you deal with that?
That's a great question. There's two ways to look at it. There's like the ego-based way, and I'm gonna cover both because I'm not gonna act like I don't have an ego. Like I'm not gonna act like that. That's not me. But so you got the ego-based way, and then the saying for that is if you don't have haters, you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
You never seen somebody hate on somebody that's not doing anything. Nobody cares about people that's not doing stuff. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So there's that perspective, and I use that as motivation. Especially early on when somebody said, you can't do it, or it's dumb, or it's stupid, or it's in the book Fear. It's in the book Fear. I've had people tell me what I couldn't do, and then I did it, and I don't hear that anymore. And I love that. I love silencing critics. You know what I'm saying? So it's an extra bit of motivation for me when I don't want to do anything. Like when you go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That other person that's like, oh, I knew you wasn't gonna get abs this summer. You like, nah, I gotta go and I gotta, or you ain't gonna squat, 4 plates. Okay, give me some time. I'll progressive overload. Give me a year. I'll be in there. So and then the optimistic, the more positive, the more mature Hussein. I don't even see it. I don't see it. Because winners is another saying. Winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners.
That's actually that's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm out in front. I don't run backwards. I don't trip over what's behind me. So I don't see most haters, and I'm not a hater at all. If somebody's doing something or getting money or whatever, I'm trying to get with them, or I'm trying to learn from them, or I'm just gonna give them their flowers. Because there's some people that are getting money that I don't like as people, like whether they're close or far. So I may not want to associate with them. And not that I don't respect how they get their money. I mean, like personality wise is what I mean. Like, nah, I don't want to be in a room with this person. So I respect that they did this, that, and the third in business. But personality wise, I really wouldn't want to get with you. So that's a great question, man. And whatever you're doing, any new ventures, anything like that, stick with it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'll stick with it. I just want to thank you for showing me this path. I explained to you was last week, a week ago, that I got this cert. I'm doing my thing. I was doing it before. I didn't even know it. And I created a bunch of powerful, strong people, without me even realizing it. And now they're coming after us. But it's all right. We'll keep quiet. Keep on doing the work. And just hopefully we're silencing them.
Right. Yeah. The work speaks for us. You can shout out what you do because I'm gonna ask you to shout it out. What do you do? What's your new venture?
I'm a personal trainer. I chose to do this because I wanted to help the community, and make sure that nobody ends up like how I was, having a stroke, disabled, and everything. And since I pulled myself out of it, and since you pretty much showed me, you put words into my mouth. It took time, but I heard most of it, and and I'm teaching it to others, and I'm hoping some of them are on here listening, and I can't appreciate you enough.
Oh no, likewise, brother. And the true mark of greatness is not your accomplishments, it's the accomplishments of your students.
Amen.
So y'all keep winning them powerlift meets, and I'm gonna fly out, and I'm saying we might have to get in a session. I'm saying I'm get back in there with you, but no ego lifting, just good energy, because that's the best part of the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, sir.
It's just the camaraderie. Is there anything you want to shout out? Make sure you give everybody an Instagram so people can follow your story, or anything else you want to shout out.
You can follow me on Instagram, Determined K. I think that's all I have.
Okay.
I'd like to give a shout out to my team, Determined Army. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let the haters hate on you. And let's keep it moving. Just keep it moving.
All right, we appreciate you, brother. And what we'll do is we'll put your Instagram link. We'll put it down here and we'll put it in the comments so everybody can follow you, follow your journey, and then support your movement.
Oh, thank you.
Likewise, brother. Peace. Let's see. Matthew, are you joining us live? Hey, what's going on, bro?
How's it going, man?
Good, man. Good to see you.
Only thing I'm trying to figure out is I want you more visual with the work. So, what is like a car note to a lease type of ordeal? Like, how do you see the difference in what you're saying?
We're going to the board. So this is what we're gonna do. You're financing right now.
Yeah.
What's your note?
223.
What's your term? How many years and how many months?
6 years. 72.
Okay. What's your interest rate?
I believe it's 12. If I swipe out, will it kick me? Because I can go look real quick.
It might kick you out, but give me a round number. Give or take.
I think it was like maybe 29. Yeah, I think so. Okay. I don't think it was too bad. I can't really remember.
How many months are you into your payments? How long you had your car?
I'm only like 8 months in.
Okay, so 72 months, 8. So you got 64 months. And you're financing. So if you're using your car for business, this is what you could deduct. Let's say it's 50% use because your car is not 100% use, or is it 100% use?
100%.
Oh, even better. So you can write off your insurance, your gas, your maintenance, car washes, insurance, gas, maintenance, car washes. And you can write this off. That's it. Only the interest. That's it. Now, if you were leasing the vehicle, usually when you lease a vehicle, the car payment actually goes down.
Okay.
Because you're only paying for depreciation. How many miles you drive a month, or how many, give or take? 800, 1,000, 1,500?
I would say about 12 to 15. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay, so you would get a higher lease. Let's just say the note came out to the same exact dollar amount, right?
Okay.
You would write off all of these things, and you'd write off 100% of that car note. So let's say out of this is 190. You multiply that by 12, $2,300. You're
right.
leaving on the table in deductions because you're financing a car versus leasing it.
Okay. Let's see. What the other question would be? So all that stuff on the right as well. I guess all of that is stuff that you would have to.
All of this stuff you could write off whether it's leased or financed. Because
and that's without a business, or would it be with the business? Like an LLC.
Through your LLC, if you set one up, I can show you how to do all that. Okay, you don't need an LLC. Let me just make this crystal clear. There's a misconception that you can't do business without an LLC. The reason why I like LLCs is because there's extra perks that, that's clients only. I'm not giving y'all all the game. Like Anthony was talking about haters. There's people watching this show right now that have known me or known of me for 3 or 4 years that will not pay a consultation fee, but they will try to pick up as much free game as they can. Some of the stuff you got to pay for. We could talk, and I give you the game. Yeah, so, but what happens is that I could give away for free. You could get that on the Instagram. See, the difference with us is some people will tell you what you could do, but I show you how to do it. Yeah, you could get a G-Wagon, if it's because it's over 6,500 pounds. But do you have one? Have you helped somebody get one? No. I actually do the paperwork with you, show you where to go, who to call, how to get to the bank, how to get your credit right. I actually do that work. And that's why my clients are successful, like I said. So that's why we have success stories. Actually, y'all could check out the success stories on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate y'all. All proceeds from this channel goes to the Mary Kemp Foundation. So if I make any money off YouTube, I don't even keep it. I give it away. I do this for fun. I do this because I like to educate. This is not paying my bills 100%. This will be donated back. So support something that's going back to the right cause. But back to what Matthew was saying. All of those things, your insurance, all of those things, you itemize them. I'll show you how to set it up, and you give that to your tax person. 100%. And that's what we're doing on our Zoom for clients only this Sunday. Giving them all the tax strategy, the game, consulting. Again, and with a disclaimer that says, go and verify it with your tax person. But sometimes if you don't know what to ask, you don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But now you know what to ask, and you get all that money back.
Wish I'd have caught up with you before I did that, man. I don't know what I was thinking.
Nah, you know you gotta call me for. I don't know why people make these decisions without calling me, man. But that's okay. What I told like I told SP, it's just a lesson in business school, baby.
Yeah.
Whatever money you lost or left on the table is just a lesson in business school. We get that every day. So you want to give any shout outs?
I don't really have any shout outs. I guess pretty much all you guys that are in here, stay to yourselves. HA, that's my guy. Appreciate y'all for having in yourselves and taking the time to learn.
Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk soon. Anybody else? This is the last opportunity for questions or comments. I see there's a gang of stuff. I can't watch that while I'm talking. So no, that's shout out to Nova. That's why Nova is running the show behind the scenes. Nova, we got anybody else? Any questions, comments? Did I miss anything before we go? I want to make sure I answer everything because I appreciate everybody being here. Hey, Tracy, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Let's see. Jazz, appreciate you. Everybody for tuning in. Oh, let me see. Orion, let's see. Oh, about the leasing at a young age. Yeah, usually there is a limit. Sometimes it's 25, but your parents can help you with that, co-signing this, that, and the third. We could look into it specifically. It may be statewide. It's usually dealer wide because that's like an overlay that they put on independently. But thank you, Jazz. I appreciate you too. This is what I would say for a young person. First off, don't get a new car. I don't care if you can afford it, if you have a job. I won't say I made that mistake because my first vehicle, which everybody told me not to get, and not to put Lamborghini doors and not to put rims which is all in the book Fear. I felt like I got out of that clean because I did like kind of like a car hack where I got rid of the car and really didn't pay for anything. But everybody remembers, like, I had a lot of fun. I don't take back any of the memories. I used to get pulled over once every week or so by the NYPD. Shout out to the NYPD. There's good cops out there, but I'm just telling my experience. I used to get pulled over. I wasn't even in the car yet because I would put the doors up. Spec was there. Like, I used to get pulled over, whatever. But this is not that show. We're not going to do that. But that's really what happened. Anyway, a young person, get a used car because you're going to learn how to really drive. You're going to get a couple dents, a couple dings. Learn how to practice. Build your credit. Do these types of things. You'll learn a lot about the car. I learned a lot about cars by experiencing them. Just like my house, I learned a lot about home ownership. Taught me a lot about little fixes and tweaks and stuff because you're going to take care of your stuff because you own it. So we could figure out the age limit for you. But if you're going to get a car, don't get a new car. Get a used car. Get a certified pre-owned. Paying for the extended warranty is money well spent. And then when the extended warranty is done, get rid of the car because you don't want to start paying for things that's breaking down, and that's depreciation. Is there anybody else? Before we go? Wow, we was on an hour. That's dope. That's good. I appreciate all four of the people who came on. So I'm just giving everybody an opportunity to ask a question or chime in if they want to. Let me see. We got backstage. Kev, you good? I just want to make sure. You want one more? Kev, you got one more? What's up?
Yeah, man. I was sitting here and I had my Instagram open from earlier. I was trying to hurry up and catch Buddy name the personal trainer. But as I'm sitting here, my Instagram sitting here open, and right at the notification, this guy that does like little text breaks or whatever says he's going live on how to write off a G-Wagon. Man, I couldn't make this stuff up. I said, okay. All right. And he's like, what up, guys? Let's get that G-Wagon. All right, man. Just pay me to learn how to get the G-Wagon.
Exactly.
That's dope.
And you know the best part about that? Who's on Instagram? Like, let's break down this demographic, and we'll close with this because I like to keep these shows to a good time because I want people to watch them. I don't want somebody to say, "Oh, it's an hour. I don't got time." So we'll keep it brief. Who's on Instagram? Now I know kids, and like they move towards TikTok, but older people are on Facebook. Most people who are interacting on Instagram is more of a younger crowd. All my realtors and stuff, a lot of them are not on Instagram. They're all on Facebook. Facebook's a little bit more professional. Not as professional as LinkedIn, but it's a step up from Instagram, right? Like you look at who really has popularity on Instagram, it's really not the Facebook crowd. It's a lot of half naked, whatever. It's a little bit more nonsense on Instagram, right? But I like Instagram more. I personally have more fun on Instagram, right? Out of the people that's on Instagram, how many of them could really even talk about a G-Wagon car note?
2%.
There you go.
This is worldwide. I give it 2%.
There you go. And the people who really can get a G-Wagon are not on Instagram.
No, they got some little account where they just kind of look and pay attention to what their kids or their family members doing or something.
Yeah. It's most of my friends. This is a something I noticed. The people I know with the most money have the least followers because it's exactly what you said. They're watching their kids' account, or maybe they're like into cars or something. So they have a couple pages they follow, but they're not on there for hours and hours. It's just not what it is. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So now you have these young people, 18, 20, because I volunteer in schools and programs. Like I know, you know what I'm saying? And it's like when I go to these programs, these kids ask me all these Instagram questions. Okay, so can I go to a bank and get a $60,000 business line of credit once I open up my LLC? Because that's what everybody posts.
Not at all.
And I know a lot of those people, and those people don't have those cars, and those people don't have the $60,000 line of credit, and those people aren't getting mortgages, and those people. Well, you know what the hack is? So you go to somebody who's really doing this page, you reinvent the post, and then you get followers off it, and then you do this nonsense. So it's unfortunate, but that's what we try to do. Is try to give the real knowledge. And for the kids out there watching it, don't get a G-Wagon. You don't want a G-Wagon.
It's unnecessary.
You don't want a G-Wagon. Again, my rule of thumb is times 10. So when you can afford a $4,000 a month car note, that's when you have an extra $40,000 a month coming in on top of what you already have. In addition, that's the way I teach my people, an additional $40,000. So if you don't make $40,000 a year, you shouldn't even be talking about a G-Wagon because by the time you get your money right, it's going to be another new car. So don't worry about missing this one or missing that trend and not getting these jeans. I wasted so much money trying to catch things until I realized that there's always going to be something new. And I tell people this all the time. Like, even like if you go on Instagram, you see like I have like this Hilfiger sweater. I paid $17 for that sweater. It was like my favorite sweater in high school. I'm like Citizen Kane. I only buy back my childhood. I don't buy new sneakers. Like they might be new, but they're a retro. I buy what I like. I don't buy what's new or what's hot because this new stuff to me is trash. I know I'm old, but I'm just saying, like, I don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I buy what I like. I do what I like.
I don't want you to be old, man, because it's a year difference between.
I know we're close to age. But no, old is a mentality. It's not age. It's not age. I got grandkids, bro. I'm old.
All right.
So, but I like being old, man, because when I was young, I never thought I'd be old. I love being old. I love having gray hair. I love this life. I love, playing with grandkids. Like, I love this. I don't want to be in a club. I don't want to do young people stuff. I want to do old people stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I make sure nobody's backstage. Kev, we'll talk soon. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for having me. This is dope.
Always appreciate you, bro. Next week we'll keep it rocking. We're gonna keep going and keep the numbers going up. So before I close, I want to say to everybody who's coming out to the event tomorrow, we sold out in 4 hours. 105 East Mockingbird. This is for y'all. Y'all gotta get up. Make sure we sold out. Best of Bell County. Going to have wholesale, B&B arbitrage, investments, wholesale, crowdfunding, all of those things. That's gonna be dope. It's gonna be at the MCG Homestead office, the classroom, the Mind Molders Academy. There's gonna be a lot of dope educational things out there. Check that out. Again, shout out to all our sponsors. Howard's Blend. Get that protein and that pre-workout. Y'all see how much energy I have? 24 hours, no sleep, because of that pre-workout. And the protein is delicious as well. Get the book Fear. It's second edition paperback. We'll have it in a few weeks. Just waiting on a clearance for my new ISBN. You can get the ebook right now for $3. You get all this game for $3. Come on. Even if you buy it and give it to somebody, just $3 goes to the Mary Kemp Foundation. And I want to shout out my man Clarity, my man Gino. You know, the moment of clarity, the high quality products. He's doing big things out in Belize, trying to give back over there as well and invest. So definitely support what that brother's doing. And you know, we'll leave on this. And everybody, thank you. And Howard, yeah, of course, the Citizen Kane reference, man. Like Rosebud, man. I'm just looking for my Rosebud. I like little things, man, like little stuff, sneakers and little things that I couldn't get when I was a kid. And I feel like I got 90% of those things, the physical things. Like, so, you know, I'm blessed. I don't miss anything. And I'm blessed that you guys are here. And next week, we're going to tune into cash versus credit. We're going to see which one is more powerful, more valuable, which one could get you further. So hopefully you all tune in. I appreciate everybody. We'll talk soon. Peace.